Hello, everyone. I'm James Sims.
My name's Annie Zhang.
Welcome to our podcast, Gambling on Love, where we focus on singles and their current dating situation here in Las Vegas. We're going to talk about their challenges and some of the trends that they're seeing in the dating world in Las Vegas. The stakes are high and the rewards are even higher. And we're hoping that these singles can take a gamble on love.
So fasten your seatbelts and get ready to embark on a roller coaster ride of emotions. Whether you're a hopeless romantic or a skeptic at heart, there's something undeniably captivating about the idea of finding love in a place where anything can happen.
You're listening to Gambling on Love. Let the adventure begin.
3, 2, 1.
Could you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Zachary Yee. I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida. I just moved here 3.5 years ago, coming up on 4 years.
I'm Laura. I grew up a military kid, so I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, and then I eventually moved to Texas, and that's where I graduated high school and did my first couple years of college there. And then I decided to move to Vegas to do my last couple of years of college, and it's been since July of 2022.
You guys are both single, obviously, in Las Vegas before you got together. You guys met here in Las Vegas, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If you could, before we even get your relationship in general and how you guys met, what is your opinion on what makes Las Vegas a place where people, before we even get you guys' relationship, how you guys met, what do you think about the dating culture in Las Vegas? Like, what makes it different than other places that you guys have experienced?
I think Vegas is a melting pot. Like, there's a lot of people from different places. I think there's not a lot of places to meet people organically. So naturally, I just went straight to the apps to meet people. Other places that I've met people were like at parties or like going out to like the arts district. So those are places that are like more for partying.
Do you prefer to meet people, like, let's say, in person or online?
Well, in person, you definitely get a feel of what the person is like first. But with all of the people that I've talked to online, I've met up with them in person. So.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Zach, I'll pose the same question to you. So, like, what were some of your challenges, or what did you find unique about dating in Las Vegas that was different than, let's say, Jacksonville?
So it's gonna be pretty long. So
No, go for it.
I came from Washington before moving to Vegas. I lived there for 3 years after I moved from Jacksonville, and I came over here in a relationship. I was still in a long distance relationship out of high school, and it didn't work out. She thought I was cheating on her for whatever reason, and she ended up cheating on me with her with my friend, and that happened. And then I was single, so my first thought was go straight to the apps. So I was on Hinge, and I didn't really explore Tinder then, so I was just mostly on Hinge, and you don't really get a grasp for, you don't get a connection on the apps really. So it was really hard for me at first. So I resorted to, at work, anytime a girl would come in, I would just put on my best impression basically.
So you mentioned you were online primarily, and then eventually you moved to in person. Attempting to meet women that came through your store.
Yeah.
So, but what did you prefer? Like, what kind of, were you more of an online guy? Was that a little more convenient? Or did you feel more comfortable approaching women in the store?
I don't feel comfortable approaching women at all. It's actually a very scary experience. But obviously I found more luck on the apps, because you don't really, they don't get to experience you firsthand. They see pictures and the qualities, I guess, that you put on the app, and then they base off of that, and then you get to express yourself and you get to show more of yourself from what they've already seen. I feel that gives you an upper hand from a blank slate when you first meet a girl, like without them knowing who you are on an app. I think it just gives you an upper hand or like an advantage, basically.
So have you noticed any trends or patterns in how people approach dating in Las Vegas?
Trends or patterns? There's definitely a huge thing with like situationships and just like talking stages, I guess you could call it. I've only really talked to 2 other guys here in Vegas, and they were very much like at first, like they didn't want to be serious at all. The first guy I had met at a party, and so obviously like there's not much seriousness there, like right off the bat. But the second guy, he immediately like said like, I'm just trying to have fun.
It's really weird, like especially on the apps, because you would talk to a girl and then you'd say one thing wrong, or like you'd say something about yourself and they're like, oh, that's kind of lame, and then they'll just ghost you. As soon as, like, me personally, I'm really into anime, and as soon as I would say something about it, just done. Just not a single response again. But the common trend is like really just, I guess, unfamiliarity, other people's interests is what I see. What I like firsthand witnessed a lot is like they're unfamiliar with my interests, so they would just instantly shoot it out. Yeah, I think it's maturity levels. Like they instantly go to assuming that I'm like less mature or something like that.
How important do you think it is to be open-minded and adventurous when looking for love in like Las Vegas, for example?
Oh, very open-minded. Like Laura said, it's a mixing pot. So I mean, you can't like, it's not that you can't be picky, but like there's no reason to be. Like it's such a diverse place to meet people of like just like different backgrounds in general, and it's kind of weird that Laura and I have the same background and we just happen to meet. But it's very important to be open-minded, not just in relationships but everything, but especially in like relationships and finding people, it's very important to be open-minded.
I think it's definitely a good thing to have standards for yourself, but I don't think you should be very picky about like finding somebody that's like exactly like your cookie cutter type. Like when I first met Zach, like I thought that we were like very different people. Like our interests didn't really align. Our music taste didn't really align, and that was like something that I was like, oh, maybe I don't want to continue talking to this person.
What was it about Zach that kind of made you stick to his profile and want to talk to him over like, you know, the other like guys that might have been swiping on you or liking you?
So I liked his photos. I was like, oh, he has a little bit of edge to him. And then I saw in his bio, he said that he worked at Feature. And we have a friend who also works at Feature, so I thought that that would be a good, like, kind of segue or, like, a conversation starter.
So, like, before we move on, like, to get Zach's point of view on this one, I just want to know, so, like, when you click onto a guy's, like, dating app profile, it's like, the first thing you look at is, like, the pictures, and if the pictures aren't hitting, that's it.
Yeah.
So, to you, like, what makes a successful, like, dating app picture?
Ooh. Well, well, they have to be attractive in my eyes, and they also, there's certain icks in like dating app photos. Like I don't like the fishing photos where they're holding up the big fish. I'm not like a fan.
Physically fishing. Wow, I thought you were talking about
totally like physically fishing.
All right, so hey guys, listen up. No, we don't care if that's your hobby. No fishing photos. It's not it right now. That's ick.
That's an ick for me.
All right, let's go.
I tried to look for somebody who kind of had the same style as I did, like kind of like streetwear. And I would also look at their bio. I think like if their bio is too serious, like too wordy, like, oh, I'm looking for this and this and this, it's like it's a little too try hard for me. And then there's also the feature where they show like their music taste, and that was something that I always looked at.
Okay, cool. So like that's good insight. You know, it really helps out people who are struggling or challenging, or people who are like what I call board swiping.
Yeah.
But so like let's get into like, all right, you guys met, you matched. So what was like the first couple of dates like? Like what were some of like the ups? So you're smiling, so it's gonna be good. Zach's over here smiling. So what are some ups and what are some downs that you guys experienced in your first couple of dates?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think there was a lot of downs. It was a lot of ups. Our first date, I guess the only down on the first date was I was like really, really, really nervous. But I picked her up. We went and got boba, and then we went to downtown Las Vegas, and we did First Friday, and then after that,
why boba?
Because she asked.
All right, yeah. So you paid attention to what she said.
Yeah.
Wink, 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 wink. All right, go ahead. Downtown Las Vegas.
And then we did First Friday. We kind of ran out of ideas, and then we went and got ice cream. And then while we were waiting for her cousin to text back because we were gonna hang out with her cousin, I was like, no weird stuff. Do you want to go back to my house and wait? And then we ended up
So wait a minute. On the very first date, you asked her back to your house.
Yes, but in a way of like
In a non-creepy way.
Yeah, in a non-creepy way.
Okay.
I wasn't trying to do anything.
All right.
It was something I was used to, so I like wasn't phased. Like I was very used to like going back to the dude's house on their first date.
All right, Zach, continue.
And then we ended up just sitting there talking and watching regular show until like 2:30 a.m. And then
What show did you guys watch?
regular show.
What is that?
It's on Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network show.
Oh, okay. Oh, look, there you go. All right. So that should have told you something right there.
Yeah. And then I drove her home, and then next day it was funny. I had a tattoo, my back tattoo, the next day. She's like, "Oh, can I come watch?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Wait, so you were getting like an entire back tattoo or like a partial?
I was finishing my back tattoo.
Finishing your back tattoo.
Yeah.
And you wanted to come watch this. Like,
Yeah.
what was intriguing about that? Like,
I think it was an excuse to like come see him again. But
so you didn't care about watching his back bleed all over the place?
no, I didn't care at all. I actually
Okay.
like. I think tattoos are cool. I think watching tattoos being done is like cool, but really it was just to see him.
Okay.
And I didn't expect it to be the very next day. I thought he meant like the next week.
Mm-hmm.
And then she came to watch my tattoo get done, and then she ended up staying.
I mean, that's very unique, and it's like I think sometimes when you're like thinking about couples and like stuff like that, a lot of times it's unique situations or like little things like that kind of were glued more so than like the basic like what you doing, good morning, beautiful, and then you never meet up, or like you go out like one day, it's the same old nonsense that she used to. Okay. So now you've had a couple of dates now. Were there any challenges? We didn't talk about challenges. It was all, that's all smiles and stuff. But was there anything like at the beginning where you were like, "Oh, I'm not sure," or you were like, "This is a little bit complicated"? Anything?
I mean, the only thing with me was like, damn, I gotta drive 35 minutes every day.
Just is a big thing. Like I've noticed that in dating too. Like a lot of times, like the person's on the opposite side of town of you. So what was like that was challenging? Like, okay, you have to drive.
Yeah, I have to fill up my gas like every other week, but I was having to fill up my gas like every 3-4 days. Like, damn, 35 minutes every day back and forth. I had to put $30 in my tank every 4 or 5 days. Is this worth it? Because this was like 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, like it's a lot of money I'm spending.
What about you? You weren't driving?
Oh no, I was. Because I think it's important to note that after the first date, we started seeing each other like every single day after that.
Y'all were spending money.
Yeah, we were.
Last year, gas prices were high, so you
Yeah.
guys were...
I was
All
feeling
right.
it probably like every 2 days.
We appreciate your tax money.
But before Zach, I've never had a boyfriend before. So that was my main, like, kind of, not concern, but I was just a little scared. Because I knew very quickly that, like, I had a feeling that we would actually be serious and become boyfriend and girlfriend. But there was kind of that, like, oh, I don't know. And then I also had, like, issues with, like, my family not liking him.
Wait, so they already told you in advance that, like, or there were some, like, rumblings
Yeah.
that some of them may not have, like, was it any specific thing? Or, like, was it, like, mom, dad, or we're talking, like, your cousins?
It was my cousins, because I was very close with my cousins at the time. And very quickly I introduced him to them. Big mistake, because I immediately got, like, protests about it. I don't think it really had anything to do with him, but more with me, because we just had, like, issues with each other. And so he just happened to be, like, in the crossfire. But that was also, like, a factor, because I think it's really important for your family to approve of your significant other.
Absolutely. That is a challenge I think a lot of couples face. Like, even, like, with like, single parents.
Yeah.
I believe, personally, that it's important to introduce to family or, like, even other people's kids as soon as possible. Because if the family or, like, their kids don't like you, that's, like, almost guaranteed over time it's going to wear on that person dating them. And it does enter your relationship. So your cousins, like, the pushback, but you stayed strong. So what made you, after you had the pushback from your family, what made you be like, okay, this is the man I want to be with? Made you come to that realization?
I don't know, it was just a feeling. Like, it sounds very cliche, but it was just a feeling. Because we forgot to mention this, but, like, before we had our first date, we were texting a lot, and we had a lot of things that were in common. It was almost weird. Like, there was too many coincidences. Like, we're both from Jacksonville, Florida. Both of our parents, like, have the same, like, jobs and all this and that. We're both military kids. And it just kind of felt like fate, almost. It sounds so, like, corny. That's how I felt.
It's not corny at all. People think love is corny. That's what love is. Love is corny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's goofy. It's cheesy, but that's what it is, you know? And in order to, like, I think, fall in love, you need to be vulnerable and explore that cheesy cornballness.
Definitely.
Zach, my man. Been quiet a lot lately. Let's get you talking. So, what made you know that Laurel was your person? Like, what made you choose her?
That's a very good question. My main thing, like she said, it was kind of weird. All the coincidences that they oddly added up to the point where I thought she was like a secret agent and she was, like, trying to kill me, like a gang stalker.
That's a little extreme. I love the way your mind thinks, though.
And it was really, just like I said, the coincidences were just oddly specific, and I was like, wow, like, this just, it's meant to happen. Those were the words I was looking for. It was just meant to happen. And, like, when I saw her for the first time, I was kind of, like, stunned a little. Not that she looked different from her pictures, but it was just like, there was, like, this, like, stunning factor that just kind of, like, sent me into shock, and I was like, damn. And, like, we hit it off really good. And then the next day, like, the tattoo day, like, that's when I knew, when we were hanging out, it was just very comfortable for me.
Yeah.
Like, laying in the same bed. And just,
Plus, you couldn't show no pain.
Yeah.
You had to man up.
I was showing a lot of pain. Back tattoos are not fun.
Yeah, I bet.
But, yeah, it was the comfortability around her. And, like, I was really able to let my guard down pretty easily.
All right, and this is probably the most important question I'm going to ask you guys the entire day. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So do you guys have any advice for other singles who are looking to take a gamble on love in Las Vegas?
I think just be very open. I think a lot of people are scared to go into the dating scene. I have a lot of friends that are like, oh, I really want a boyfriend, but, like, there's nowhere for me to find one. The apps is definitely a gamble. I always tell people they're not real because it's on the app. But sometimes you can find the one on the app like we did.
Yeah, so you guys did find love on the app. But, you guys took a gamble as well. Right?
Yeah.
So, Zach, what is your advice for the singles out there looking for love?
Do not be an a-hole. Do not.
So what does that mean? Specify.
So, when I was getting back into the dating scene, I had a friend who would always tell me, you just gotta show them so much attention and just drop it. Act like you don't know them. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not for you. You're a good kid.
So what were your experiences with that? Okay, you were an a-hole and you dropped them. A lot of guys think that makes women become more interested in you, right? But in all honesty, it doesn't. It just causes more cycle of, So what were your experiences with that when you would do stuff like that? What happened?
I didn't. I felt too. I like I said, I'm a good kid. It was hurting me too much. I would try, and then I would instantly feel bad. It's just not my thing. But don't do it. It messes with women's feelings, and that's not okay.
Perfect. And and I'm gonna give you a perspective, because you can give a perspective. Some things that women do that with dating that are a little bit different, but I think they do it out of a defense to protect themselves. Mm-hmm. But men tend to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more creepy and a little bit more out of bounds sometimes when it's speaking to women online. What advice would you that was a great piece you just gave us about the whole don't be an a-hole. Yeah. But what are some other things men can do to or some other myths you can kind of debunk that we know for a fact are just bad advice that you should not do when talking to a woman online?
Pickup lines.
Pickup lines.
No, absolutely not.
I didn't use any on her, but I would just, all those corny little TikToks and reels you see of people shooting their shot and they get a response. Those are probably all set up. None of them work.
I need some cosign, Laura. Help me out. What about the pickup lines or ick?
They're very ick. I've had a few people on the apps say very forward things I want to throw you against the wall and fuck you until your cervix breaks or something.
Oh my God.
Like that.
What
is that? No, absolutely not. That is not how you get a lady.
Let me apologize on behalf of all men. That is wild. Any guys listening to this, please, never. You got a mom, you got a sister, bro, or whatever. Just don't. Just don't. I'm sorry. All right. Well, on that note,
I've never used that one.
Yeah, no, that's aggressive. I apologize, but on that note, thank you guys for just sitting in with us today and just talking about your relationships, your struggles, your successes. I think it's really important that we kind of come together as a community and figure out what's going on with this stuff and kind of help bring more people together through information, because it seems like nobody's really listening in person, but these podcasts and things like that is digital way of communication that we kind of have all kind of adopted into society. I think hopefully this will help get the information out. And then hearing from people like our age, you guys are both in your early 20s. So, this is, really right now the scene of millennials and Gen Zers that kind of definitely need some guidance, and who better than our our peers and our other people our age. So thank you guys. You guys got any other things you want to say or any other advice or just a message for the world?
Just be yourself. There's nothing better than yourself. Don't try to be someone you're not, because that'll end up pushing people away.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Love, much like gambling, can be unpredictable and thrilling. But as we've seen through these stories, it's also a journey worth taking. Each person you've met has shown that sometimes that leap of faith can lead to the most beautiful outcomes.
Thank you for joining us on this adventure. If you have story of love and change, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us on our social media channels or send us an email.
Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll meet another brave soul who dared to take a gamble on love. Until then, keep your hearts open and your spirits adventurous.
This is Annie, signing off from Gambling on Love. Until next time, may your love story be as exciting as a night in Las Vegas. Goodbye.